Coverage you can count on. KOAT Action 7 News at 5 starts right now. We begin with breaking news.
And that breaking news, a rescue operation to get 21 people off the Sandia Peak Tramway continues at this hour. Good evening, I'm Doug Fernandez.
I'm Shelley Rabando. Our team is bringing you live coverage. All of those people are now off the tram. Angel Saucedo has a look at what happened, and Kaylin walks us through the team behind the rescue operations.
It was an active scene all morning. They were stuck since around 10 o'clock last night, with rescue operations finally beginning around 5 a.m.
Just a couple of hours ago, the Bernalillo County Sheriff's Office updated us with a news conference. Search and rescue operations paused around 1 p.m. today due to cloud cover, leaving 7 stranded above. But as of 4 p.m., we can confirm all of the employees are safely down at the base. Rescue crews also made their way back down. Officials say these kind of incidents are something the tram plans for.
This is not is something that we hadn't kind of planned on at some point. We've done a lot of training with all of our search and rescue stakeholders here in the past regarding the tram operations. I could tell you the tram is a safe operation. They like to mitigate risks, and that part of that mitigation is to train with all these public safety stakeholders.
Action 7 News reporter Angel Saucedo is live at the tram with more on information about how this happened.
Yeah, Doug, this whole process took about 18 hours from when they were first stuck in the Sandias up here. And it's been 4 different agencies working to get everyone down to safety.
It was an experience.
After being stranded in a tram car for 15 hours, 21 people are now back on the ground safely.
2 years, and we've been stuck once or twice due to some weather, and you just wait 15, 20 minutes, and that 15 minutes turned into a half hour. The half hour turned into an hour.
At around 10 p.m. on Friday, 2 tram cars were stopped on the way down from Sandia Peak. But how did all of this happen?
We were affected by severe icing due to the moisture, cool temperatures that affected the emergency cable. We had to cease operations due to the high winds and the icing, and unfortunately stranded 20 of our employees actually out on the line last night.
John Jones was the operator for the cabin carrying 20 restaurant employees.
They were a little bit finicky at first, but then once I told them that what the plan was, what's been happening, they definitely did calm down.
They say the hardest thing was to stay warm as rescue teams planned on how to bring everyone down safely.
We got real close and a lot of hugging and just making sure everyone was okay.
At around 11:30 on Saturday morning, crews began their rescue. Their plan was to rappel the passengers down off of the cabin and then walk them to a location where the helicopter could fly them to safety.
All the behavior changed. You know, we saw the light at the end of the tunnel.
When time finally came to rappel, it was just pure joy.
In groups of 2, employees were brought down safely, their loved ones waiting for them with open arms.
I was kind of worried he wasn't going to get down because of the E-cable and how high it was and everything, but he got down, so I'm glad.
Although everyone was brought down to safety, John says there's an important lesson to take away from this incident.
In winter, you have to be a lot more perceptive of the cables, and not only that, the wind conditions as well. This is the mountain, and we have to get that reminder every now and then.
The Bernalillo County Sheriff's Office tells us there was one other person stuck in another tram car. They managed to bring him down to safety 3 hours later. Now let's go to meteorologist Byron Morton. He's got some new information about some of the conditions that those rescue crews were facing. Byron.
Thanks a lot, Angel. Take a look at KOAT 7 weather radar. This is a loop over an hour time frame between 9:30 p.m. and 10:30 p.m. last night. Of course, when that tram got stuck on the cables there, the base of the tram right there, what I want you to notice is the brighter shades of yellow and orange as we go through time. That's the intensification of the precipitation, and also that pink and blue. Pink is a mix of rain and snow and even some icing, and the blue is snow. Now look what happens to the temperature. This is a look at the ground temperatures over that time frame. They get colder, and below freezing temperatures means that that precipitation was freezing on contact on those cables, and the snowfall as well was picking up with anywhere from 1 to 2 inches of snowfall falling on the mountain as we headed through that time frame, 9:30 p.m. to 10:30 p.m. along with those very strong winds. The team responsible for the rescue used training, skill, and technology to make this happen safely. Anchor Kaylin Norwood is live at the base of the tram with more. Kaylin?
Yeah, Byron, a lot of moving parts to get those stuck on the tram down safely, and the Bernalillo County Sheriff helicopter played a key role in that rescue. As the helicopter made its way up and down the mountain, a camera on board recorded what the pilot was seeing. The video streamed live through the entire operation.
Now you guys are all safe, and it was pretty much uneventful, so I think you're doing good.
The Bernalillo County Sheriff helicopter shuttled the people off the mountain after they came down from the 80-foot tower next to the tram.
We've got 3 ready to board, and we've got the 4th.
In groups of 2 to 3, each of the 20 people were pulled off the side of the mountain and flown to safety. The chopper also brought up equipment like boots to help get the employees down in the snow.
I have 2 pairs of hiking boots to pass along to you. They're behind the co-pilot's seat.
Copy that. Yeah, we were upset we didn't grab them on that last landing. We'll get them this time.
They were able to get all but one person out that way. For the last person, they had a plan.
Okay, so everybody is out of the tram except for one of the other carts that's mid-span between 2 towers. And I guess the plan is to try to get them over to a tower and then bring them down.
Changing weather conditions delayed the rescue. They say it took 10 flights to get people out. Reporting live at the tramway, Kayla Norwood, KOAT Action 7 News.
In celebrations for the holiday meant some people didn't know their family members were still on the mountain. Now, we spoke with one man whose son is a cook at 10-3 who learned about the rescue on the news.
We talked to him briefly on the phone while he was up there. They were at that point, they were just starting to strap people up to get them off.
Maddox says his son was excited to get video of the restaurant's chef getting off that tram. They said the sheriff's department did a great job and are happy everyone is safe.
The Sandia Tram attracts thousands of visitors each year. Action 7 News reporter Brianna Albizu breaks down the history and the construction of the popular attraction.
The Sandia Peak Tram is often called an engineering marvel. The concept was developed back in the 1960s, but from the steepness of the Sandia Mountains to its rocky terrain, building it proved to be an even bigger challenge.
We're going to be inspecting everything from the bottom of the tower all the way up to the top. We're looking for any bent beams. We're looking for anything out of the ordinary.
Bell Engineering, a Swiss company, was in charge of the project starting in 1966. Stringing all of the cables took 5 months. 2 massive towers were also built, both standing at over 7,000 feet tall. Holes were drilled and steel rods were anchored in the granite to secure each of the footings for the towers and the terminals.
If those wheels are off, it'll cause a lot more stress on the cable.
Next come the operations for the 2.7-mile tramway. The attraction consists of 2 cables, double reversible, as well as brakes. When both tram cars are attached, the weight of the downhill car helps pull the uphill car to the top with an average speed of 12 miles per hour. While the project is powered by a 600 horsepower DC electric winch motor, an industrial engine is in place in case of a power outage.
After a while, yeah, it's just background. You're too focused on what you have right in front of you. You don't want to hurt anybody. You don't want to drop anything. Everything has to go smoothly.
All for the longest aerial tramway in the world, with over 11 million trips and counting. Reporting in Bernalillo County, Brianna Albizu, KOAT Action 7 News.
This is the longest people have been stuck on the tram in nearly 50 years.
Went up there in June and a lightning storm came in and something was struck by lightning and it made the car stop. And we were on a car that was getting up near the top.
In 1973, more than 40 people were stranded for 24 hours. There are several other times people got stuck. Now, we have a history of these issues coming up in about 8 minutes. And remember, download our app for the latest as we follow this breaking news.
Another big story overnight, snow hitting several parts of our state. Our team was live from Santa Fe and got this video this morning. And the snow is wrapping up, but the real cold is setting in. Meteorologist Byron Morton's here now to tell us who's under wind chill advisories. Hey, Byron.
Omicron variant stretching hospitals thin and leading to more sick frontline workers. Plus,
they were taking every precaution to make certain that they weren't overloading the helicopter.
Challenging weather conditions in the air over the tram rescue. What it was like for the pilots and the people on the ground. Today's emergency at the Sandia Peak Tramway isn't the first time people have been stuck and rescued. It's happened at least 5 times. In 1973, a gondola full of people was stuck for 24 hours. Target 7 caught up with 2 people who went through the terrifying experience, along with their 2 small children. This is Eve Morrow, 48 years ago, with her 2-month-old daughter, Marin. She, her husband, Carrie, and their 2 children were stuck on the Sandia Peak Tram for 24 hours in 1973.
Well, we went up there in June and a lightning storm came in.
It is the longest period of time on record that someone's been stuck on one of the tram cars in the 55 years it's been operated. Lightning and high winds pushed a cable out of its position.
When the car stopped, it made the tow cable in a way that the cable flipped up over the one that the car rides on.
Both cars were stalled, trapping 41 people inside. Eve described what they did.
Wait. There wasn't a lot to do. There was we could actually see a storm coming across the desert, and the operator assured us it's not a problem, but it turned out to be a problem.
Then another storm with high wind blew through, and when it passed, the temperature dropped.
It's pretty cold. It's June. It's cold, so we passed my maid here and put a blanket to keep everybody warm.
On the ground, crews used bulldozers, a crane, and a large helicopter to unsnag the cable to free the cars.
You know, I think the scariest part of all they got to the report was when they finally decided they could move us, and they pulled us very slow. That was probably the scariest part.
The Morrows were safe, and it's a story they don't think about often. But today they were watching football on KOAT and saw our breaking news programming that 21 people were stuck on the tram. Immediately, their hearts went out to them.
Oh, well, I was thinking, bless their hearts.
And Eve Morrow did get back on the tram. About 20 years later, she took another trip. In our archives, we found 3 other times when people were stuck on the tram for 4 hours or more. The most people ever stuck was 49, and that occurred in 1982 and lasted for 5 hours.
One of the complications of this rescue, the changing weather, and no one knows those conditions better than a helicopter pilot. Sky 7 pilot Neil Lawson was in the air watching today's rescue.
It went very quickly. The biggest problem was the weather. We ended up having to leave before they were done.
The same issues that stranded the passengers complicated things for rescuers.
They have an emergency system built into the tram cars where you're lowering a rope from the car, and they're able to lower the people down one at a time.
Crews then walked people down the hill through the snow to where the helicopter could land.
Metro 1 was coming in and landing. It's a very small area, very tight, and also, in this case, covered with snow. So it was a difficult landing for the BCSO crews. Well, once they got on board the helicopter, it was literally only a minute or 2 after they took off, go right down the hill, land at the parking lot at the base of the tram, and let them off. And then they could head right back up the mountain and grab another person.
But Neil explains the operation has risks.
The biggest problem with the snow coming through like that is it reduces the visibility. And this is not an operation you want to try to do on instruments. So it reduces visibility.
Fortunately, crews were able to operate safely and get everyone off the mountain.